Greetings, YouTube. Happy Tuesday. It is a happy Tuesday indeed because, for all of the haters out there, the people who defend Kabam at every turn, they always say, people in this community to stop complaining because they just need to be thankful the game exists and they need to not, encourage nodes to change. They just need to get better. Well, you elitist douchebags, you're wrong because a lot of times things are, and I know the phrase is overused, but let's call it what it is, things are cash grabs. And this new Hyperion Map 5 mini-boss is a cash grab, especially for so many alliances that don't have the best of the best champs. They don't have the top-ranked, say, Dormammu's or, whatever counters you want to name. They don't have them. And so I hear from a lot of people who are trying Map 5, and they're not Map 6 or Map 7 Alliance possible. They're Map 5 and Map 4 and Map 3. And this just destroyed them to the point that people were legitimately quitting. They were just done. War had already burnt them out, and now their one relaxation was Alliance Quest, and that was burning them out. So someone like Rafster here, thank you, good sir, posted, nothing offensive, nothing derogatory, just a simple plea. Please tone this node down. This is too much. And this is a common sight for so many alliances. Just getting this hype down a little bit, but that's it. And Lord knows my alliance has been really successful at using Luke Cage and some other counters, but it's still a really tough fight. Well, we had a lot of feedback. Power locked for 20 seconds while Hyperion can gain power. Thanks, Kabam. Of course, that was the number one feedback. But Kabam saw all this feedback, and this is why in the best case scenario the forums exist, so people can comment and not be offensive, right? Not be rude, but check out this comment. This is what will make me move to a new app. Loyal since December 2014 download, but come on, Kabam. And this is what I've heard time and time again behind the scenes this week. People like AJ saying, I have been here since the very beginning. I have defended you in things like the overheating issue and even patch 12.0 because I thought Scarlet Witch really was overpowered and should have been somewhat nerfed. I do think that some people who have said that are rethinking their thoughts on that because of the way that we've seen now OP 6 stars, whereas OP 4 stars just aren't as powerful as they were 3 years ago. But regardless, this is not a super sensitive, whiny comment. This is just a reasonable observation of someone who has played the game now. December 2014 is 4.5 years ago, right? Going on 5 years ago. That's a long time. That's longer than some, I don't even want to say some. That's longer than, sadly, many marriages. And so when you scroll all the way down and you see all of these comments, all of these people saying, this is just really unfair, you do have Kabam that eventually says, you know what? If all of these people are saying the same thing, there needs to be some clarification on this. And so you scroll down and you scroll down, and you finally get to the last thread. And when you go to the last thread, because we started on page 1. Okay, here we go. Kabam Mike, hey everybody, thank you for your patience. And by patience we mean thank you for getting wrecked and losing your champions. We're sorry we haven't replied earlier, but we can't really reply until we have something to share. That's also not true. How many times, Kabam Mike, have you replied just to say, kind of just to throw some shade? Man, gotta love it. We've taken your feedback to the team, and they agree that this Hyperion is more difficult than we'd like it to be. So when I read a comment like that, it just sounds like you didn't test, right? It sounds like you just kind of threw this guy out there and you didn't have the appropriate tests of your content. And this is not something like a random node on the new monthly uncollected event. This is like a huge deal because all alliances that jump into this content will face the same mini boss. And so you would think if there's one thing that they're going to test, it's going to be the Hyperion mini boss. And yet, time and time again, I feel like a broken record, right? Until the community tells them to test broken or unfair fights, they don't realize that things are broken or unfair. And that's just simply unacceptable. So many times people will say, it's like they don't play their own game. I think that's very obvious. I think a lot of these people either play so casually they don't understand how difficult their top content is, or they just don't play at all, and that is just as ignorant as anything else. Okay, so for the next series of Alliance quests, we're going to be implementing some changes. Stepping down the horrible node, of course, the lock 3 to lock 1 on both mini-bosses, replacing Oscillate. We are not locked on what this is going to change into yet. These are not yet final, but we will let you know the final details before it goes live. So unfortunately, since it's not live yet, and of course Alliance Quest is live, you may have to continue to fight these annoying nodes. Really, if there's any time for emergency maintenance to make this live before the next Alliance Quest day, which is today, of course, I think it's day 4, that's today. But the bottom line is this. This is going to be something to the effect of the title of this video, and this is going to be my takeaway. Community, when you give Kabam constructive feedback, like, look, I've been here since December 2014, and now I'm going to download a new app. That's not, hey, F you, I hope you burn to the ground. You know, you don't want to take it to a malicious, dare I say, threatening level that could involve authorities. You want to be constructive, but you also want to be honest. And if so many people hadn't contacted them on this thread and said, look, this is unreasonable, I'm going to walk away from the game if you guys don't tone this down, and they, actually read it after over a page of feedback, then I don't think this change would have happened. I think they just would have kept it in because Lord knows they didn't test it beforehand or properly test it beforehand. Or they're just lying to us and they really did test it beforehand. They just thought that it was completely fair for their pocketbook, and it's now only when people are threatening to leave that they suddenly admit that the Hyperion is more difficult than they would like him to be. Bottom line is, this is why the forums exist. This is why my YouTube channel exists. To be a reminder of why powerful voices that are respectful but honest over conditions that a game can go from great to terrible in the span of just a week. This is why this exists. So I encourage you to continue to voice constructive criticism when warranted on the forums. This is a huge win for the community, so thank you to everybody who made this thread possible. I am so proud to be a part of this awesome MCOC YouTube community. Have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday.